Alright, in McCracken County, there's a return date for the subpoena, and what I chose was my next hearing, which was on March 14th. And that was about a 3-day notice. No complaints on their part. And I got the training records and discipline. Well, there were no discipline records. I think they're withholding discipline records. But I was given records from all 3 cops. I asked individually. This one's Ryan Burroughs, signed by Kim Chanel, the lady who went crazy on me in that last video. But there's this return date. They call it a subpoena return date, but they don't label it as a subpoena return date on the paperwork. It's called, let's see, commanded to appear before, you are to appear at courtroom D, and then it gives the date to produce. So it's not called a subpoena return date on the paperwork here, but that's what the judge calls it. And I brought that up, that, you know, what if I wanted to do some more subpoenas? I mean, my next date pretty much is trial. I don't want to be calling for the information at my trial to just be discovering, reading new stuff. So that's when Judge Jones mentioned a subpoena return date. So on the 14th of March, during my hearing number 3, I mentioned that I needed a date for the subpoena, and I prefer not to have a date. Okay, let me be clear. For just getting documents, getting like the office calls, the radio traffic, to get the information about the photographs that were taken on the crime scene. I don't really care about getting a court date for these documents. Okay, I'm asking for documents. I'm not asking, and to be handed directly to me, not to be brought to the court and then watch them handed to the prosecutor, the judge, and me. It just I mean, seems like something that should just all go through the prosecutor. The prosecutor's just too lazy. In fact, I'll just say, when I saw the sheriff at the beginning of my hearing on March 14th, just standing in the corner at the back of the courtroom, he was holding multiple documents. Okay, well, he was holding all of this stuff. He was holding these. Okay, and I'm like, I walk up to him and I'm like, is that what I subpoenaed? And he's like, yep. And I'm like, well, here I am, give them to me. And he's like, nope. He had to talk to the judge about it. So you had to have like the formal process, which is just so stupid. So instead of the sheriff handing me those documents when I asked for them, he decided to wait the whole hearing. Not just the whole hearing, like everybody else's court date on that day. He waited through everybody else, and then to the end of my hearing too. So it was like 2 hours. He just kind of hanging around in the courtroom when he could have just given me the paperwork right at the start, right at the beginning. I mean, it's so stupid. He's working with this formality that's just a waste of time. So that's what they do, this formal thing. So I had to make sure that, you know, I got it clear that if I wanted to get make some more subpoenas for paperwork, or the radio traffic that was occurring, I needed another date. That's what Judge Jones said. He could give me a subpoena return dates, and it was 1 week. So that was on the 14th, and so he gave me the 21st. And now I'm not really gonna subpoena anything, and I don't have to show up on that court date for subpoena stuff. All right, he said that he would call my name if I had anything. If I'm not there, he won't put a bench warrant out for me. It's just that my name gets put in the pile on the docket. If your file, they keep a file in a locked case in a locked room, and they'll pull those files for the days that are scheduled for court. But if you're not scheduled, they won't have your file. So and there's different ways of calling your case to the court, and subpoena is one of them. The arraignment is another. But the subpoena is not a matter of you having to even be there. I just didn't even need to show up. What I find interesting about this is I set a subpoena date for the 21st, coming up like tomorrow. Today's the 20th. And now I've learned, after talking with Prosecutor Newbern, that we could use the subpoena return date to solidify the contract that I signed for the 6-month agreement to not commit any crimes in the county of Natchitoches for 6 months, and then they'll have a review of my case, and if there's no further incidents in their county with me, then the case is closed. But we're using that subpoena return date instead of waiting longer, because that's when my case will be put onto the docket, is for that subpoena return date. So if I had not chosen that subpoena return date and signed the contract, the 6-month contract, I mean, it sounds like I would have had to wait until my trial day instead. But instead, we're using the subpoena return dates. And as I was talking to Prosecutor Benjamin in the hallway, Judge Jones was walking by, and he asked him that if we could just use the subpoena return date of March 21st to just settle the contract, instead of me working, trying to get subpoenas or whatever. It's not set in stone that it has to be for subpoenas. It could be for other things as well, that date, because they're calling my file, my criminal file with the McCracken County into the court. Otherwise, I can't just show up on any day in the courtroom and expect them to be able to add anything to my case file. So I think this just a learning process. It sounds, Prosecutor Newbern sounded like he wasn't too sure. He had to ask the judge, and the judge just happened to be walking by. So he asked the judge, hypothetically, if we could use that subpoena return date for just settling this 6-month deal contract, this criminal contract. And I'm willing to go through with that 6-month thing, because I was getting bored and tired in that county, sitting around waiting on trial court dates, and the trial was another month, and I was in a routine of just boredom, back and forth, the same places, day in and day out. So breaking that up feels a little bit better. So that's the subpoena return date. Can be used for settling contracts or other issues. But it's just a matter of getting your your file on the docket for that day. I don't think that they like to put your name on the docket every day. I mean, if they could bring everybody's name to the to the hearing. Every time they have a hearing, just bring everybody's name. It'd be a lot of stuff. They're dealing with paperwork and files, so it'd be just huge piles they would bring to the courtroom. And then, you know, they got to choose the ones that have a higher that need to be attended to first. And yeah, it's just they got a system set up, and I'm learning that system, even though I'm never going back to McCracken County again. Learning their system is valuable for maybe other places.